In this video, we're going to look at the resources available in Maya. When you first start working with the software, you can find it confusing because many of the resources overlap on what they teach you. And so I want to walk you through some of those basics to kind of simplify the beginning of the learning process. Most of what you can learn in Maya can be found directly here on the Help menu. If I click under Help, the very first one that I have here called Maya Help is actually the equivalent of the Maya User's Manual. If you were to buy a manual, this is where you'd basically find all that information that you need to learn about when you first get started with the software. This is not a good training resource. You'll find this more as a reference type manual or if you just want to learn one very specific command. It is not real good in teaching you the basics. But to give you an example, let's say I was wanting to learn about modeling. I'd click on the modeling. If I was to click on our very first topic, polygonal modeling and introduction to polygons, it would actually explain to us some of the very foundational elements having to do with polygonal modeling. Let me go ahead and close that window. The next one that we have is the help and what's new. Now, with what's new, when we go into this section of the software, you're going to find basically what's new with each of the different versions of Maya. From version 2011 through 2014, you'll actually find examples of all of that here. In fact, you'll see movies down on the bottom, which highlight what features they've added, and then more just descriptions up here as far as on the top section. Our next choice that we have under the help is the Maya Learning channel. Now, the Maya Learning channel basically gives you videos on specific topics. So if I were to go in here and to take a look at this, you can see up here at the beginning we have new uploads. This section I recommend here called Getting Started. It will give you an alternative examples of what I've been teaching you. If you wanted details just on modeling, shading and texturing, and so on, you'll find many different videos listed under the Maya Learning channel. Our next choice that we have then is one I've shown you before, which is the 1-minute startup movies. These are what start every time you load in the software. And again, depending on your version of Maya, you're going to have a different number of videos and the screen will look a little bit differently. Our next area that we have on here are the tutorials. Now, this is one of the greatest resources available that doesn't cost extra, and it's basically a training manual. This is actually very good for teaching you a lot of the basics. To get to it, we'll go to the Help menu. We're going to go down to Tutorials. Now, there are two things you're going to need to do. One is you're going to need to download the Getting Started lessons. And you're going to want to download the version of the lessons for the version of Maya that you have. Now, the lessons are almost identical between the different versions of Maya. So don't worry if your version of Maya is not exactly the same as mine, because as I said, the vast majority of all the commands are identical. So you're going to want to click on the Getting Started with Maya Lessons files, and they're in a zipped file format, and they will download on your computer system. The other thing you'll want to do is click on the Getting Started with Maya. Now, in the latest versions of Maya, they've basically had everything available just on the internet. So the training manual here, such as for the overview, and if I were to go into an introduction, everything is online. Now, if we were to close this and look at the bottom here, you'll see in older versions, in fact, we even have tutorials back to 2010 listed, you're going to find that those tutorials are in PDF format. The PDF format can be handy for those of you that like to print things out. And that pretty much covers the tutorial section. Our next one that I want to show you under help here is Learning Path. Now, Learning Path basically is a shortcut to many of the things that I've already shown you, such as it's going to take you back to the essential skills movies, the how to movies, also take you to tutorials. It will take you to other areas that Maya or Autodesk has available, such as training books or tech support as well. The main one I want to show you here is what we'll be getting into, which is the Maya interface. If you'll click here, as far as on the interface overview, it's actually going to give you a screen. You might want to save this as a PDF or set it up onto your computer and print it out. This is going to give you a quick rundown on the main topic areas of the screen. And it will help you out as you're starting to learn the software. If you use the help and cover the areas which I've shown you, you will find that it will be easier to start navigating the software.